The woman who tried to get my dog kicked out of the grocery store probably saved my life. She just doesn't know it yet, and honestly, I don't think she ever will. I was standing in the checkout line, cart full of basics, Max right beside me. And he was staring at me. Not at the other shoppers, not at the woman behind me, just me. Both eyes locked on my face like nothing else in the world existed. And that's when she tapped my shoulder. That dog needs to leave now. I looked at her, then back at Max. And here's the thing nobody tells you about moments like this. You don't get time to explain. You don't get time to defend yourself. You just get a choice. And I made one I never thought I'd have to make in the middle of a grocery store. My name is Elias. I'm 38. I live in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I work at a hardware store, $16 an hour. Rent's $890 a month. You do the math. And the dog everyone keeps staring at, his name is Max. He's a Siberian Husky. Black and white blue-gray eyes with a distinctive red mark on his fur. Wears a green service dog harness everywhere we go. And no, you can't pet him. Not because he's mean, not because I'm difficult, but because when Max is wearing that harness, he's working. And the work he does. Most people don't see it, don't understand it, and honestly, I didn't understand it either until 3 years ago. This isn't a story about a well-trained dog doing tricks. This is about what happened the day someone tried to take him from me and what I found out about myself when they did. Before we dive in, make sure to hit like, share, and subscribe. And I'm genuinely curious, where are you watching from? Drop your country name in the comments. I love seeing how far these incredible stories reach. I woke up at 6:47 a.m. that Tuesday. Max was already awake. He's always awake before me, just sitting there at the foot of the bed, staring. Not panting, not moving, just watching. I swung my legs off the mattress and stood up. Walked to the kitchen, started the coffee maker. One hand on the counter the whole time. Just something I do now. Don't really think about it anymore. The apartment's small, one bedroom. Tulsa rent runs me about $890 a month, which sounds cheap until you're making $16 an hour at a hardware store. After rent, utilities, groceries, gas, there's not a lot left over. Everything has a place it needs to go. I poured the coffee black, no sugar. Max followed me into the kitchen and sat down 3 feet away, still watching. My phone buzzed on the counter. A text from my sister Sarah. Call me today. Not tomorrow. Today. I swiped it away. Sarah calls every day. Texts twice a day if I don't answer. She means well, but sometimes I just don't have the energy to explain that I'm fine when I don't know if I actually am. I made eggs, scrambled, ate them standing up over the sink. Max didn't move, didn't beg, didn't even look at the food. He just kept his eyes on me. People think service dogs live this glamorous life like they're on vacation all the time. The truth is, Max works harder than I ever have. And he does it without being asked twice. I opened the pantry and grabbed his food. Blue Buffalo Wilderness, the big bag, because it's cheaper that way, even if it means I'm broke for a week after buying it. Poured it into his bowl, set it down. He ate fast, then went right back to watching me. On the counter next to the bag of Greenie's treats I give him at night, there's a bottle of Rimadyl, joint supplement. Max is 6 now. Not old, but not young either. His hips are starting to slow down a little. The vet said it's normal for huskies his size, so every morning I give him 1 pill wrapped in a piece of cheese. He takes it, swallows, goes back to his spot by the door. I grab my keys, my wallet, check my phone one more time. Another text from Sarah. Elias. I put the phone in my pocket. But that morning, something was different. I could feel it. A low hum in the back of my head. Nothing sharp, nothing painful, just there. And Max could feel it too. Because when I looked down at him, he wasn't just watching me anymore. He was locked on. I brought Max with me to work that day. I always do. The hardware store is about 15 minutes from my apartment. Small place, family-owned, been there for 40 years. I stock shelves, run the register, help customers find things. Nothing complicated. We walked in through the back. My co-worker, Dennis, was already at the counter sorting receipts. He looked up when he saw Max. Man, that dog looks like he could eat my arm. I didn't say anything, just nodded. I've heard some version of that line about 100 times. A kid walked past with his mom, maybe 7 years old. He stopped and stared at Max. The mom pulled him closer. Max didn't even look at him. He just stayed next to me, same as always. I clocked in, walked to the front. Max sat down beside the register, didn't lay down, didn't relax, just sat there watching me. A customer came up with a can of wood stain, older guy, looked at Max, then at me. Does he bite? No, sir. The guy nodded, but didn't look convinced. He paid cash and left fast. About an hour in, I was restocking nails, small boxes. I grabbed one off the cart, and my hands started shaking. Not bad. Just enough that I couldn't hold it steady. I set the box down fast. Max nudged my leg once, gentle, just enough to let me know he was there. I took a breath. The shaking stopped. The customer 2 aisles over never noticed. There's this thing that happens when you have a condition like mine. You spend so much energy pretending you're fine that by the time you get home, there's nothing left. No energy, no patience, nothing. Max is the only reason I can still leave the house. My brain misfires. That's the simple version. The not simple version is that it can happen anytime. No warning, no pattern. 1 second you're fine, and the next second you're gone. Focal onset, impaired awareness epilepsy. That's what the doctors call it. Damage to the temporal lobe. Something about electrical signals crossing wires they're not supposed to cross. I don't pretend to understand all of it. I just know what it feels like when it's about to happen. And that day, I could feel it starting. My phone rang. I pulled it out. Dr. Catherine Mole's office, the neurologist I see every 3 months. Routine check-in. They wanted to schedule my next appointment. I sent it to voicemail. Max's eyes didn't leave me. I put the phone back in my pocket, finished the nails, went back to the register, but the hum in the back of my head was still there, louder now. And that's exactly what was about to happen in the one place I never wanted it to. I left work early that day. Told Dennis I had errands to run. The grocery store was busy. Tuesday afternoon always is. I grabbed a cart. Max walked beside me, harness on, head level. We went down the cereal aisle first. Box of cornflakes, loaf of bread, some chicken breasts on sale. Nothing fancy. Just enough to get through the week. Max stayed close. Closer than usual. Every few steps, he'd glance up at me, then back at the floor. Not his normal rhythm. He knew something I didn't want to admit yet. The hum was getting louder. Not painful, just present. Like static behind my eyes. I turned down the canned goods aisle. A woman with a toddler in her cart passed by. The kid pointed at Max doggy. The woman smiled politely and kept moving. Max didn't react. He never does. I made it to the checkout line. For people ahead of me. I unloaded the cart. Bread, cereal, chicken, a bag of rice. Max sat down next to me, same as always. And then he started staring. Both eyes locked on my face. Not on the cashier, not on the people around us. Just me. I didn't think much of it at first. This is what he does. This is his job. That's when I felt the tap on my shoulder. I turned around. A woman, maybe mid-50s, gray hair pulled back tight, holding a basket with a single bottle of wine and a box of crackers. Her face was hard. That dog needs to leave now. I blinked. Excuse me? She pointed at Max. That dog is staring at you like he's about to attack. He needs a muzzle, or he needs to go. I looked down at Max. He hadn't moved. Hadn't growled, hadn't shown his teeth, hadn't done anything except sit there and watch me. Ma'am, he's a service dog. He's trained to do this. I don't care what he's trained to do. She stepped closer. I have a right to feel safe in this store. That dog is aggressive. Look at him. He won't take his eyes off you. The cashier glanced over. The people behind her started watching. I could feel the heat rising behind my eyes. The hum wasn't quiet anymore. Ma'am, he's not aggressive. He's alerting. The woman crossed her arms. Alerting to what? I didn't answer. I couldn't, because the lights above the register were starting to smear. The floor wasn't quite level anymore. She raised her voice. If that dog bites someone, it's on you. He needs to be removed right now. People were staring now. The cashier picked up the phone. Max pressed his body against my leg. Firm. Steady. But the hum was turning into something else. A pressure. A tilt. And I knew what was coming next. The sound went first. Not all at once. Just muffled. Like someone wrapped cotton around my ears. The woman was still talking. I could see her mouth moving, but the words were distant. Underwater. The beeping from the register turned into a dull pulse. Somewhere behind me, a kid was laughing, but it sounded like it was coming from the end of a tunnel. The lights stretched. That's the only way I can describe it. The fluorescent tubes above the checkout line started to blur, long streaks of white pulling across my vision like someone smeared wet paint. I tried to blink it away. Didn't work. Never does. My hands went numb. I looked down at them, still gripping the cart handle, but I couldn't feel the metal anymore. Couldn't feel my fingers. Max moved. Not away from me. Closer. He positioned himself directly in front of my legs, his body a wall between me and the tile floor I knew was about to come up fast. The woman was still there. I could see her pointing at Max, her face twisted in anger or fear. I couldn't tell anymore. The cashier had the phone to her ear. A man in a blue vest started walking toward us. Security, maybe. Or a manager. It didn't matter, because the floor was tilting now. Not a little. A lot. Like the whole store had been built on a slope, and I was the only one who noticed. I tried to say something. Tried to tell them I was fine, that I just needed a second, that Max was doing exactly what he was supposed to do. But my tongue felt thick. Heavy. The words didn't come. The pressure in my head turned into heat. Sharp heat. Behind my eyes, at the base of my skull, spreading like something was burning through the wiring in my brain. Max didn't bark. Didn't make a sound. He just moved closer, pressing his weight into my shins, bracing. I felt his body tense, solid, ready. My vision started to narrow. The edges went first, dark tunnels closing in from both sides. The woman's face disappeared. The cashier disappeared. The fluorescent lights became a single long blur, and then that started to fade too. The last thing I remember clearly was Max's eyes. Blue-gray. Locked on mine. And then the electrical storm hit full force, and everything went dark. I don't remember falling. No one ever does. But I've been told what it looks like. Your body goes rigid first, then the muscles let go all at once. Dead weight. 190 pounds dropping straight down. On tile, that's a skull fracture waiting to happen. On concrete, it's worse. But I didn't hit tile. I hit Max. He positioned himself the second my knees started to buckle, turning his body sideways, lowering his center of gravity. When I went down, he caught me. Not with his mouth, not with his paws. With his entire frame. My chest landed across his back, my head against his neck. He didn't yelp. Didn't cry out. He just absorbed it. All of it. Then he did something most people will never see a service dog do. He braced. While I was still unconscious, still seizing, Max spread his legs wider, planted his paws, and held my weight. 190 pounds of dead muscle. And he didn't let me slide off. Didn't let me roll onto the tile. He became a wall. A barrier between me and the floor that could have cracked my skull open. Someone screamed. I didn't hear it, but later, the manager told me it was the woman with the wine. Beatrice. She thought Max was attacking me. Thought he'd finally done what she'd been warning everyone about. She yelled for someone to get the dog off me. But nobody moved. Because by then, they could see what was actually happening. Max wasn't attacking. He was shielding. His body formed a curve around mine, his head positioned over my shoulder, creating a barrier between me and the crowd that had started to form. A man in a blue vest tried to approach. Max growled. Low. The kind of sound that makes you stop walking. The man stopped. Max wasn't being aggressive. He was doing his job. No one gets close during a seizure. No one touches Elias. That's the rule. The convulsions lasted maybe 40 seconds. Feels like forever when it's happening to you, but the brain doesn't keep time during a misfire. When my muscles finally released, Max adjusted. He lowered himself slowly, carefully, letting my body settle against the tile without dropping me. His work wasn't done yet. He stayed pressed against my side, his weight keeping me from rolling, his breathing steady and calm while mine was still ragged and shallow. I came back in pieces. Sound first. Muffled voices. The beep of the register. Then sensation. Cold tile against my cheek. Max's fur under my hand. And finally vision. Blurry at first, just shapes and shadows. But I could see him. Blue-gray eyes. Still watching. Still there. A voice cut through the fog. Clear. Calm. Professional. Elias, can you hear me? My name is Ray. I'm a paramedic. You're in the grocery store. You had a seizure. You're safe. I tried to nod, but my head felt like it weighed 100 pounds. My mouth tasted like metal. Copper. Blood, maybe. I'd bitten my tongue again. Ray came into focus. Young guy, maybe late 20s, dark hair, blue uniform. He was crouched next to me, medical bag open on the floor. He wasn't trying to touch me yet. Good. Max wouldn't have let him. Can you tell me your name? Elias. My voice came out rough. Scratched. Do you know where you are? Grocery store. He nodded. Good. That's good. Do you know what day it is? Tuesday. Another nod. You with me, Elias? I tried to sit up. Max shifted immediately, pressing his shoulder against mine, helping me balance. Ray put a hand up, gentle. Slow. Take your time. Your heart rate's elevated. Let's get you stable first. He pulled out a small flashlight. I'm going to check your pupils. Is that okay? I nodded. The light was sharp. Painful. But I didn't look away. Behind Ray, I could see the crowd. 20, maybe 30 people, all standing back. The woman with the wine, Beatrice, was still there. Her face had changed. The anger was gone. Now it was something else. Fear, maybe. Or guilt. A store manager stood next to her, radio in hand. The cashier was at the register, staring. Ray followed my eyes. Don't worry about them. Just focus on me. He checked my pulse, then pulled out a blood pressure cuff. Max didn't move. He stayed pressed against my side, his body a solid line of warmth. Ray glanced at him. That's one hell of a dog you've got there. I know. Ray smiled just a little. He kept you from cracking your head open. Took your full weight. I've seen service dogs do a lot of things, but that was something else. He wrapped the cuff around my arm, pumped it tight. Your pressure's a little high, but that's normal post-seizure. Any pain? Headache? I shook my head. Just tired. That's the adrenaline drop. You're going to feel wiped out for a while. He released the cuff, packed it back in his bag. I need to take you to the hospital. Standard protocol. No. I said it too fast. Ray stopped. Elias. I can't afford it. My voice cracked. The ER bill. The tests. I can't. Ray's face softened. I get it. But you had a grand mal in a public place. We need to make sure there's no internal injury. I looked at Max. His eyes hadn't left my face. Ray saw it too. He's not going anywhere without you. I promise. 3 years ago, I didn't have Max. I had seizures, sure. Had them since I was 19. But I managed. Barely. I'd wake up on the bathroom floor, or in the hardware store backroom, or once in the parking lot of a Walgreens with no memory of how I got there. I told myself I was fine. I told Sarah I was fine. She didn't believe me. Sarah's the one who found Paws of Hope. A rescue shelter on the east side of Tulsa. The kind of place that takes in the dogs nobody else wants. The ones with behavior problems, medical issues, the ones that have been passed over too many times. She called me one Tuesday. Said she'd found something. Wouldn't tell me what. Just said to meet her there after work. I walked into that shelter, and the smell hit me first. Wet dog, bleach, something else I couldn't name. There were maybe 20 kennels, all full. Dogs barking, pacing, some just lying there staring at nothing. Sarah was talking to a woman in a Paws of Hope t-shirt. Her name was Linda. She ran the place. Sarah pointed to the back corner. That one. I looked. In the last kennel on the left was a Siberian husky. Black and white, blue-gray eyes, and a red mark on his fur like someone had painted it there. He wasn't barking. Wasn't pacing. He was just sitting there, staring at the wall. Linda shook her head. That's Max. He's been here 8 months. Nobody wants him. Why not? She sighed. He's stubborn. Won't listen. Won't play. Won't engage. We've had 3 families try to adopt him, and all 3 brought him back within a week. Said he was too much work. Too intense. Just sits and stares at people. Makes them uncomfortable. I walked closer to the kennel. Max turned his head, looked at me. Didn't wag his tail. Didn't move. Just locked those blue-gray eyes on mine and didn't look away. Sarah stepped up beside me. He's a stray. Found him wandering Route 66 outside of Sapulpa. No collar, no chip, no history. Vet thinks he's about 3 years old. Hips are good. Temperament's fine. He's just... Linda cut in. He's just not a pet. He doesn't want to be a pet. I don't know what he wants to be. I opened the kennel. Linda started to say something, but Sarah put a hand on her arm. Max stood up, walked over, sat down directly in front of me, and stared. Not aggressive, not playful, just focused. Like he was trying to see something inside me that I couldn't see myself. I crouched down, reached out. He didn't pull away, didn't lean in. He just let me touch the red mark on his fur. Sarah's voice was quiet. I think he's supposed to be yours. I didn't argue. Ray convinced me to go to the hospital. Not because I wanted to, but because he said Max could ride in the ambulance. They don't usually allow that, but Ray made a call. Said this was a special circumstance. Max sat next to the gurney the whole way, his eyes never leaving my face. The ER visit lasted 4 hours. CT scan came back clear. No bleeding, no fractures. The neurologist on call adjusted my medication dosage and sent me home with paperwork I couldn't afford to follow up on. Ray drove me back to the grocery store to pick up my car. Max sat in the back seat, quiet. 3 days later, I got a voicemail. The voice was shaky, uncertain. "Mr. Elias, this is Beatrice Hoffman. I'm the woman from the grocery store. I'd like to talk to you if you're willing. There's a coffee shop on Cherry Street. I'll be there Thursday at 2. I understand if you don't want to come." I almost deleted it. Almost. But something in her voice made me stop. Sarah said I should go. Said people don't apologize unless they're ready to hear the truth. I wasn't sure I believed that, but I went anyway. Beatrice was already there when I walked in. She sat in the back corner, hands wrapped around a coffee cup she hadn't touched. She looked smaller than I remembered. Older. When she saw Max, she flinched. Just a little. But she didn't leave. I sat down across from her. Max settled at my feet. Beatrice stared at him for a long moment, then looked at me. "I owe you an apology." I didn't say anything. She took a breath. "My daughter, Claire, was attacked by a dog when she was 7. German Shepherd. Wasn't provoked, wasn't doing anything wrong. Just playing in our yard. The dog jumped the fence and went for her face." She paused. 32 stitches. Fractured cheekbone. Therapy for 2 years because she couldn't sleep without seeing it happen again. I'm not telling you this to excuse what I did. I'm telling you so you understand why I reacted the way I did. When I saw your dog staring at you like that, all I could see was that shepherd staring at Claire. I looked down at Max. He was watching me, same as always. That's not what he was doing. I know that now. Beatrice's voice cracked. I watched the video. Someone recorded it, posted it online. I saw what he did, how he caught you, how he protected you. And I realized I almost got him removed from the one person who actually needs him. She reached into her purse, pulled out a tissue. I called Paws of Hope, the shelter where you got him. I asked if they needed volunteers. Linda said they always do. So I've been going. Twice a week. Walking the dogs nobody wants. The ones people are afraid of. Why? She looked at Max again. Because I was wrong. And I need to do better. 3 years have passed since that day in the grocery store. The video Beatrice mentioned went viral for about a week. Local news picked it up. Called Max a hero. Called me brave. I wasn't brave. I was just a guy with a condition I didn't ask for, and a dog who refused to let me face it alone. Max is 9 now. The gray has started creeping into his muzzle, around his eyes. He moves slower in the mornings. Takes him longer to stand up from his spot at the foot of the bed. The Rimadyl dosage went up 6 months ago. The vet says his hips are worse. Not bad enough for surgery yet, but getting there. I'm saving. $16 an hour doesn't go far, but I'm trying. We still go to work together. Still walk through the hardware store with kids staring and adults asking if he bites. Still buy the expensive Blue Buffalo because it's better for his joints. But things are different now. I'm different. I don't hide anymore. Don't pretend I'm fine when I'm not. Sarah and I talk every day. She comes over on Sundays. Brings groceries I didn't ask for but need. And Beatrice. She still volunteers at Paws of Hope. Every Tuesday and Thursday. Linda says she's good with the difficult ones. The dogs that stare too much, that won't play, that make people uncomfortable. She understands them now. Last month, she helped place a Rottweiler that had been there for over a year. Nobody wanted him because he had scars on his face and didn't wag his tail. Beatrice sat with him every visit until he trusted her. Then she found him a home with a veteran who needed exactly what that dog could give. Tonight, I'm sitting on the porch of my apartment. Same 1-bedroom, same $890 rent. Max is lying next to me, his head on my knee. The air is cool. October in Tulsa. The leaves are starting to turn. I can hear traffic on the highway, a dog barking 3 buildings over. Max's breathing is steady. Calm. He's not watching me right now. Just resting. I run my hand over the red mark on his fur. It's faded a little over the years, but it's still there. Still his. I used to be afraid. Afraid of the seizures, afraid of the bills, afraid of the moment when my brain would misfire in a place where Max couldn't save me. But I'm not afraid anymore. Not because the seizures stopped. They didn't. Not because I got rich. I didn't. I'm not afraid because I learned something that day on the grocery store floor. I learned that the people who save your life aren't always the ones you expect. Sometimes it's a dog nobody wanted. Sometimes it's a woman who hated you until she understood you. Sometimes it's a sister who won't stop calling even when you don't answer. And sometimes, saving someone's life means letting them save yours first. Max shifts beside me, lifts his head, looks at me with those blue-gray eyes. I scratch behind his ears. Good boy, Max. He leans into my hand. We sit there together as the sun goes down. And for the first time in a long time, I'm not counting the days until the next seizure. I'm just here, right now, with the dog who taught me what it means to be seen.